very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on the Tuesday edition of the show. I'm Yemi Adeba. Well, tonight on the show, we will be talking about Nigeria's preparation to get slots at the Winter Olympics. We'll also be talking about the African Nations Championship. Nigeria's exited for a while now, but of course, the semi-final matches played today. We'll talk about all of that as we go on. The Nigeria Premier Football League will get us talking. We will also talk about things happening in Europe, English Premier League to be precise. That's the outlook of the show tonight. Sit back, relax as we take you on a trip across the money-spinning world of sports. Let me quickly introduce our guest on the show tonight. Kade Idris joins us as usual on a lovely Tuesday evening. Greetings to you, Kade. Thanks for finding time to be with us on the show.
Thank you so much. It's always lovely joining the show on Tuesdays, and I'm always looking forward to the lineup. And yes, another very packed one. MPFL is back, so if the entire world is saying football is back, we can also join in saying football is back, and it was mind blowing. The game one, match week one, games. Very beautiful, and then all over Europe, EPL, Bundesliga, and all of that. So it's heavy. And then we're talking of the Winter Olympics. Yeah, we were looking forward to the trials.
All right. I will let you say more than that. All right. Of course, my colleague also Akpan is suited and ready as we go along on this ride.
What a greetings to you wherever you are in the world watching us. In London, I'm Austin Okonakwan. So much going on in our world of sports. The Premier League right here in England returned with a bang. What a game of football we saw when Newcastle showed that they can compete this season, even with a man down. That one really got a lot of persons talking, and we're still talking about it. We'll still talk about it tonight on the show. The Nigeria Premier Football League, Yemi, you mentioned. I'm so loving it that it is back. It also came with a bang. Remo Stars and Rivers United put us into the groove. And then now we've seen, smaller teams also saying, look, we are not here to respect anyone. Barao FC, Kun Khalifat, and Warri Wolves made a bold return to the league, going, to Katsina, the Muhammadu Diko Stadium to beat Katsina United. Beautiful times, interesting times in our world of sport, Yemi. Let's rock and roll.
All right, let me allow you to do the honors. Let's start differently tonight. Of course, the quest to be at the Winter Olympics. This is not something we usually talk about, but of course, some ladies decided a while back that they were going to give us something to talk about in that direction, and of course, they've continued from where they left it. The Bobsled and Skeleton Federation of Nigeria, of course, they've announced the 9 athletes comprising of 5 men and 4 women will feature at the qualification tournament for next year's Winter Olympics in the Italian cities of Milan and Cortina. I mean, also, we're talking about this because usually, probably 5-6 years ago, you dismiss this and say, look, it's not for Nigeria. Let's just wait for the Summer Olympics. But here we are, talking about the Winter Olympics, talking about Nigerians in with a chance of getting in there because they've done it before.
That's right. I mean, an impossible is nothing in our world of sports. And shout out to Seun Adigun, Ngozi Owumere. I think Chioma will never forget what they did. Shout out to Simisola also. Those ladies, look, they gave us a clear reminder that Nigeria as a country is too big, too blessed to be talking about maybe football, basketball, and athletics. And this is the Winter Olympics, I mean. Someone will say, oh, where is the ice? Where can they prepare? Where is this? Blah, blah, blah. No, those are limitations. They improvised. They made tracks, and they are preparing, they are training. Tells you that you need to go the distance, particularly when I see federations just sit down and just wait for funding. You see, they do nothing. I've said over and over, even some football FAs is just one secretary and a book to take register of visitors. This is a federation that is working. Kade Idris, look at how much improvisation, look at how much they have put into this sport right from when they made the debut at the Winter Olympics. And I think that's what a lot of persons should commend and support the Bobsled and Skeleton Federation in Nigeria, because we can actually see the work that they are doing. And with these trials, for the 2026 Winter Olympics. I only just wish that it will go well and then they get the right persons to compete for the country and then they go on to qualify. Let's listen to talking points from that one. Then Kayode Idris will jump into the conversation.
We try to localize our sports, maybe 80 to 90% local, so that people can also understand that you don't need to be in an icy area where you have snow to do this sports. When we went to the Olympics in 2018, the city of Houston hosted the team because most of our athletes were from Houston, and Houston doesn't have snow. So we were given a congressional certificate by the state of Texas for putting Houston on the map of winter sports. Now, what are we supposed to? Why are we doing these trials here? Is to bring it closer to the people so that they can understand that you don't need to be in an area with snow before you can do the sports. And once we do that, then we can appeal to the private sector to support this initiative. That is where we are at this point. And this sports is about track and field up to 60%. So introducing it to our younger people is easy, because what do we need to do is to go to where we have track and field and pitch it to them that you can do this. If you can run, you can jump, you can push, you can do this sport.
This year we really are focused on trying to make sure we make it to the Winter Olympics again. It has been since 2018 that we've competed and participated in the Olympics, and we are even more adamant this year to make sure that we have athletes competing and participating, flying the Nigerian flag for the Bobsled and Skeleton Federation of Nigeria. So the good news about our sport is that, one, we've had several athletes that we've had in our federation that live and are born and raised in Nigeria as well as abroad that have gone on ice and competed. Many have won medals, many have broken records and made history, and we also have had a lot of athletes who can train without needing to be on ice. It's just about getting strong, it's about getting fast, and once you get strong and fast, you convert that to the ice. Now with the drivers, they need a lot of time on the ice to actually learn how to drive, and many of our drivers have been on ice, but this year we're really trying to make sure that we spend even more time on ice so that we can be very competitive with the rest of the world.
I love it. Well done, Seun Adigun and Solomon Ogba also for the work they're doing with the Bobsled and Skeleton Federation. Kayode Idris, I said it and I'll say it again. If we get our federations working this productively, achieving results, then our sports will shine again.
Then our sports will definitely shine again. Listening to Seun, and one thing you would just deduce immediately is the passion, is the fact that, she really wants to put her all into this. One of the things that fears me in our society is getting frustrated. I've seen it happen a lot of times. Hopefully, Seun, who she and her girls, let me use it that way, chose to represent Nigeria when they don't have to. They could have represented anywhere else, but they were far away out there. And they said, no, this is fatherland or borderland, whichever we want to call it. They represented us. And see, even the way they were celebrated outside of Nigeria was way more than we celebrated them here. They went on shows, proper talk shows, comedy shows. Everybody just wanted to, celebrate them because of their decision and how well they performed. And then bringing it back home, all these years now, she is championing that, and then we have other administrators right here. Hopefully, the message is driven very deep. I've said it time and time again on the show, that there is something about the Nigerian society. The only problem you would have with not having anybody representing a sport is not exposing that sport to the Nigerian society. The moment you let them know, I can remember flag ball. Flag ball came, and we're thinking, oh, there is rugby, there is American football, now there is flag ball. What? Before you know it, 2 weeks, they are having over 500, athletes ready to compete and represent at the national level, at the continental level, even at the global level. That's how well we've been blessed. How do we harness this, talented, blessed, athletes is where we always have the issue. And hopefully, Dr. Seun and then, the other administrators will be able to be a proper bridge in there. I know Shehu is ready to do everything. She said, technically speaking, you need to be strong and fast. You can see where it's supposed to be trained on ice, but we're improvising. Now, if you had done all of the, I've energized myself, I'm strong enough and I'm fast enough, then when you take it to ice, is how to now navigate, technically controlling yourself all the way. If you watch that sport, it is super dangerous if you don't know how to really control yourself. So I guess that is what she meant by, for the drivers, you need to, be on ice more so that you can be able to control and all of that. So hopefully, by the time we're talking about 2026 or maybe way beyond 2026, 2030, we'll be talking about, proper representation of these sports, as much as we are not, quote and unquote, a winter, kind of country. But we're seeing what everybody's putting in there. Well done, to everybody.
All right. I guess we can move on from there because we can go on and on. Talk about these ladies, talk about the giant strides that have been taken. All right, let's move on now. I'm going to go across in a bit, but let's talk about the African Nations Championship. And of course, a lot of people lost interest the moment the Chan Eagles got knocked out of this competition. But of course, today you have a lot of things going on with the Chan trial. So let me just quickly go across board to take a look at the results and talk about how 10-man Madagascar were able to get the job done. Madagascar, at a point were a man down and you feared for them against Sudan, but somehow they defended well and got it going. Then the game that is currently going on, Morocco and Senegal, before we came into the studio, they're done with regulation, they're done with 90 minutes, they're into extra time, and there's really nothing much to separate both teams. It looks like we're heading for penalties. But first, your thought, a gritty performance from Madagascar.
Very, very gritty. I think we've seen it in football especially. You go 10-man down and you rally around, call yourself and said, there is nothing more to happen. If they beat us now, we could always make excuse for we're 1 man down, 10 players playing against 11. It's also a team that is as good as us. That is on equal level. Or we could just change the narrative by being dogged. By being dogged means each person has to do a double shift. You have to look at yourself as I'm covering for you, you cover for me, and all the 10-man almost becomes 20-man. And I think that is what, did it for Madagascar. For Sudan, they gave everything. All respect to Sudan, but the Madagascans, rose to the occasion and they held their own. And sometimes when you play these 10 men, they can be frustrating. And, at a point, Sudan really looked frustrated. And that is what a 10-man wants. Get under your skin where psychologically, you are not in there, fully. So congratulations to Madagascar. And the African Championship, yes, we lost interest. But if you've been following it, it has its own interesting side because you're watching African football at the African level. That is, everybody you're seeing a proper representation of our football. And that's why we all need to really, see and enjoy everything that is being brought from there.
All right. Let me go to Austin, get his views. And I'm very sure he also wants to talk about the good news we've all been savoring about Rasheedat Ajibade, the good news we've been savoring about our move to, of course, the female football side of PSG. But also your thoughts on this one quickly and probably spile your tab for us. As any of the two teams been able to get a goal, then you could go on from there. Probably, as I know you would love to, probably talk about Rasheedat Ajibade.
Yeah, the game between Morocco and Senegal, live penalties are being played now. Morocco leading 2-0. So I'm just monitoring that one to see how it's going to end. But as it is, it's looking like Morocco will go on to win that one because they have the advantage. And definitely with Rasheedat Ajibade, I knew she was going to get a proper deal. Emerging player of the tournament at the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. I think she also made some good showing when she was with the Atletico Madrid women's football team. And when she got to PSG, it was all love. PSG, they would gladly take her. They've already, given Chiamaka Nadozie to Brighton over Albion in England. So with Rashidat, it's going to be a very good one. She's very pacey. She also versatile. She's a leader. She's a playmaker. And she's got Jennifer Echegini right there. There's a trending video of Jennifer telling her sister, welcome. I really loved it. It was heartwarming. I just want to wish Ajibade all the best. Now I feel like I'm growing old. I watched Rashida and Ajibade grow. I promoted her so well when she was doing freestyle football. That was how she started. She never even knew she was going to be professional. She was doing freestyle football, and then from there she went to FC Robo Queens, and the rest is history. Today she's captain of the Super Falcons. She has played for top clubs in Europe, and now she's with Paris Saint-Germain women's team. Let's just wish her all the best. This is what we want for our players, for them to keep, representing the country at, proper top level internationally, and then keep the pride and glory of the country,
All right, what else can I say? It's looking like a tribute from Austin on Rashidat Ajibade, but those words, every word spoken are true. We wish her all the success that she desires for herself. We hope that it translates into more laurels for the Super Falcons of Nigeria. A lot to talk about, talking about women's football. Maybe allow Katie to say a few lines, because we're going on a break in a few seconds. I know you're eager to say a good move.
Yeah, fantastic move. At the start of the season, I did like a short preview on the men and the women, Nigerian men and women, after the AFCON, after, saying how will their moves be. And I was super excited about the women. They've had a fantastic run, not just winning the WAFCON, but the way they've run. And the captain so there, and now she made that move. Another angle is, we talked about Echegini, welcoming her. There is something about unifying your home. You don't know where to pave way for you. She's the queen of the Super Falcons, and she made everybody one, from the young players to the new players to the old players, And then she got to Paris Saint-Germain. Now, whether she likes it or not, she is new, Echegini is old. So Echegini welcoming her to help her find her feet. And, after you get a good move, the first thing you want to do is to also get somebody who helps you find your feet, and then you push on from there. Welcome and well done, Rashida.
All right. We'll probably talk some more about that. We need to go on a break right about now. That break will also be followed, for just to let our viewers know that, of course, at some point they will be on to Inside the Niger Delta. That's on the DSTV platform. But all the other platforms, after the break, will still be here talking sports, talking everything happening in your fast-paced, money-spinning world of sports. So we'll go on that break, and of course, we'll come back for more of sports. All right, welcome back. It's time to talk about the Nigeria Premier Football League. Just like Austin said in his opening statement, of course, Rebel Stars and Rivers United set the tone for what was an eventful weekend, talking about the start of the 2025-2026 NPFL season. So in a bit, I'll be going across to just show you what happened. But let me get Katie's thoughts on. Austin listed out the teams that are just coming, they're not playing, and any result particularly surprised you?
I think the new teams, Kun Khalifa, Barao FC, I think they gave a good account of themselves.
Is it a sign of things to come?
Yeah. And then, probably you could say topping it all. Don't blame us whenever we celebrate all 3 points being gathered by an away team. It's always rare, so we cherish the Warri Wolves, winning at Katsina United. That was big. Then also Bayelsa United with Monday Odige. Monday has become very animated figure that we all want to see, on the sidelines. Now he left Bendel Insurance. Now with Bayelsa United going all the way to beat Shooting Stars. Shooting Stars did a lot of room change, management, coach, and all of that. But the first game didn't tell the story of a team who wants to move forward. Hopefully, from match week 2, we'll see it differently. So
right.
I think we saw results in match day 1 that is telling us that we might just be in for a very, very tough, MPFL season. Aside football, hopefully other things that helps football to look beautiful will be put in place.
That's the prayer. Kaide Idris. Not just the football, every other thing, the additives, every other thing in and around. I'll go across now and, of course, reel out the results. And I'm very sure Austin will tell us his thoughts. And, of course, match day 1 results get our attention, gets us talking. And there you have it. Abia Warriors had a slim 1-0 victory over Kano Pillars. Barao FC played a goalless draw with the Aba Elephants, the People's Elephants. That's talking about the Imba. Al-Kinabi Warriors had a 2-0 victory over Bendel Insurance. And, of course, the result Austin was referencing, Cool Khalifat going to Nugu Rangers. And, of course, was a stalemate. Goalless, they held the former champions to a goalless draw. There are other matches played over the weekend. You had Warri Wolves, and that's the game KDJ is celebrating, and you can understand why. Away wins always very precious. We always like to talk about them. And of course, Warri Wolves winning there. Shooting Stars, with all the reshuffling, the rearrangement, it didn't go as planned, at least for the first day. Who knows what's going to happen after Bayelsa United going all the way, getting the 3 points, scoring that goal. Wiki Tourists beat Plateau United. And of course, Rainbow Stars and Rivers United. Was Daniel Lugumon? They say, look, I'm happy I didn't lose. I mean, how would it have been for the defending champions to be losing on the first day? So these are the results. So let me just quickly go to Austin. Your thoughts on this one. It's going to be very hard to pick just one. Very interesting times. I mean, very interesting matches. But I do think Rivers United and Rebel Stars set the tone for what, I mean, was a weekend filled with exciting football matches.
Interesting, Yemi, and I said it that with that, the MPFL returned with a bang. And look, right away, 3rd minute, Anyekeme Okon scored the first goal of the season. 1, 2, 3, goal. Like, wow, how does that happen? And then 5 minutes later, club returning Victor Mboma, equalized for Remo Stars. And that was when I said, look, we're going to have a competitive season. We all know that the Nigeria Premier Football League is highly competitive. But with what we saw, Rivers United and Remo Stars, produced, I was like, let's brace up. And then Sunday came, and the smaller team said, look, we are not here to smile. We're not here to look at anybody. And they gave us a performance. First, shout out to Barao FC and how their spectators came all out to the Sani Abacha Stadium in Kano. And that was what made the difference for them, because Aimba was the better team. But with the support that they got from the 12th man, look, they were able to get a point out of that one. And then Kun Khalifat, newly promoted side, went to Enugu, and they did not lose a game, And look, it just tells you that the Nigeria Premier Football League is not where people will come and they are giving respect. And the game between Abia Warriors, that's what you see now, and Kano Pillars. Abia Warriors needed to do their bit. Paul Sampson was the man, He was on fire last season, and he continued where he stopped, scored that goal. A bit of a goal scramble, but hey, Coach Imama and his team, they will take that because they actually needed this opening day win. Umuahia is becoming a very beautiful place for them to play. So Kano Pillars knew that it was going to be a very difficult game for them. By the way, shout out to Ahmed Musa and Rabiu Ali, still going strong for the team. What a legend Rabiu Ali is turning out to be. He's going to be 45 this year, Yemi, and he's still doing his football. What other team got us talking on match day 1? Warri Wolves went to the Muhammadu Diko Stadium in Katsina, and there they made a bold statement that they are here to stay, beating Katsina United by a single goal. I loved it so much. Another newcomer to the league, Wiki Tourist, did just enough to beat Plateau United at the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa Stadium in Bauchi. So it tells you the story. We're waiting for Nasarawa United to complete the round of games when they play tomorrow. But with what we have seen, Yemi, let's brace up. It's going to be a competitive season.
All right, let's brace up. It's going to be a competitive season. All right, I'll go across now because I'm going to be staying with the screen for a while. So let's just give you a confirmation of the thing Austin referenced. And this game is what we're expecting tomorrow. It's going to, of course, be the last game of match day 1. It's going to be between Niger Tornadoes and Nasarawa United. So we'll see what happens in that one. All right, we want to travel to Austin's backyard now. And of course, Austin doesn't need to travel, so we just go join him. So let's talk about the English Premier League. Of course, managers, there are 2 types of managers, those that have been sacked and those who are waiting to be sacked. Early days yet, but we are already looking at managers that could get sacked. So let me ask Aide Idris, who's top on your list in the English Premier League?
Yeah, I would have easily said after 2 games, Ruben Amorim should,
be on that list.
Yeah, but there is a peculiarity with Manchester United now. They are choosing at this point to stick with a coach. The chop and change has not been helping. Solskjaer, Eric Ten Hag, the names, Van Nistelrooy and all of that. So at this point, I think they feel, let's just stay with him. Let's wobble and fumble, and then we'll get back on our feet.
So that may not let
put
it
him
happen
in that list. But if you're going by games, this man has played 29 games with 28 points. That's poor.
Okay.
Terrible.
All right. So, the man in your picture that K.A.D. Idris is shying away from putting on the list is who our producer is putting on the list, and I agree with our producer. Ruben Amorim, of course, this is his records as Manchester United manager. Of course, he's played 44 matches. He's won 17, he's drawn 9, and he's lost 18. And of course, this is it. Manchester United had to start the FA Cup at an earlier round. Usually it's not always the case with Manchester United. But the coach has been talking, he's been saying, look, not being in Europe could actually be a blessing in disguise. Whether or not another manager will get ahead of him on the list of the coaches that are likely to get the boot for some funny reason that I cannot explain. Something tells me Nuno Espirito will be on that list, not because of performances, but because of some dressing room disturbance. Well, let me quickly go to Austin if he agrees with our producer that this man surely should be on the list. And maybe he's hearing anything about Nuno as well. Austin.
No, with Ruben Amorim, I've always said it that Manchester United, they can be tolerant when they want to be, particularly when you're the one who created the problems. Let's be sincere. They showed improvement against Arsenal, and you can say they were unfortunate to lose that. Same thing with the draw at Craven Cottage. But Amorim is just, suffering the scenes from last season, So that's why the media will never let go. And yes, they can actually push the narrative onto the board, sacks him. But I don't think Manchester United will let him go now. With Nuno, I think they like what he's doing at Forest. I think they really do like it here. But he needs to prove a point. The top 2 on my list, surprise, surprise, you won't even believe it. It's Newcastle, Eddie Howe, and Graham Potter. If they don't get results as match day 7, come back and watch this. Particularly Newcastle. I think they are just watching closely, So it is what it is. Football can be funny. Coaches, as we said, they're hired to be fired, and they know that. So they need to just, do what they have to do, to stay relevant. Let's listen to Ruben Amorim. He's been emotional lately, and I understand. Hopefully, he'll be able to turn things around at Old Trafford. Listen.
Yes,
Many changes.
we have three games this week. We have quality players, and we need to do rotation to try to win every game. It's a normal thing that happened in other clubs. I think we were not prepared to play Europe. That is my feeling, to have strong games in Champions League and then play Premier League. We need time to develop as a team. So they just need to fight for the places, and then everything can change. Sometimes one is playing, in other moments other guys are going to play, and we have the cups, so he's going to have a lot of games for everybody. Yeah, I said that last season. We need time to prepare every game. We need the games are really competitive, and we need time to build the base, and then in the future to move forward. And that will reach one moment that we need to have Europe for everybody to play games. The opponent's corners, but if you remember this game, it was 20 minutes ago. We had our chances, and we scored one goal set pieces. We had the penalty. We had at least one in the end near the post. So, and you can see every game in Premier League. Tell me one game that you didn't see a big occasion from corners. So I think that will happen in every game.
Yeah, that's Ruben Amorim. So Kende Idris, he re-echoed some of the things I talked about. I think he's just been unfortunate, particularly that he has tried to bolster the team a bit and they're still not getting the result. Do you agree with some of the things he talked about?
I don't agree. I think Ruben Amorim has learned the act of talking sweetly, and then he buys you to his side. There is no talking. Football is so practical. You can't give all of these, excuses against Arsenal. We saw signs. We saw, it looks, bright and all of that.
Just for laughs.
Yes.
And I know also he's hearing this as well. Just for laughs, do you see the media getting under his skin? Because Ruben cuts the picture of somebody who doesn't look cool and all that.
Yes.
And they're asking him probing questions, and he's trying to be calm. Do you foresee a time that he will lose his cool with these guys?
They're already doing that. That is why these records started coming out. 29 games played, 28 points and all of that. They've started putting it out there. Another coach I want to mention before you move on is Unai Emery. Unai Emery also needs to wake up with the Aston Villa team. It looks like a disjointed team if you have seen their 2 games. And if he doesn't find something quick to fix them up, I think it might just be another coach. And see, there is a record. When he, coached at Arsenal, after 2 seasons, he started losing it. Maybe this is another, angle to that, where Aston Villa are looking at 2 seasons gone, and then we started seeing frailties in your managerial role.
Austin, I don't know. Ever since Sir Alex left and Dave Moyes, every Manchester United manager had to learn how to be aggressive, because there was something they needed when they were coming for all these press conferences, because the results were bad. So we started seeing managers banging the table, managers speaking aggressively to pressmen, managers trying to be the ones asking the questions, even not allowing the pressmen to do their job. So do you think we'll get to a point where we'll probably see, just for laughs anyway, where we'll probably see Ruben Amorim bang the table or try to stop a reporter from asking him a question and asking those questions because he looks cool now? We live in this cool where they really poke him deep.
Yeah. That's what the media does, I mean, you guys, that's what you guys do. You always poke the bear. They keep poking the bear, and that's what they've been doing with Nuno and his future at Nottingham Forest. They're just trying to get the guy out of Nottingham Forest, and they're forcing him to have a future conversation with the owner. I think Ruben needs to invest in good PR, because they will always come for it. It was like that well-dressed bride when he was coming to the Premier League. And we warned him, remember? We told him that right here, you don't just manage a team, you manage the media, you manage the fans, you manage the people, you manage the business. It's a lot. So I think he's a professional. We probably won't see banging of tables, but what he's doing now He's not allowing some questions to land. He will just take it from you. Postecoglou did that a lot, you know. I think it was week 10 or 11 that he told the reporter, hey, stop. I know where you're going, stop. You know, so the media does this, you know, particularly these days when everybody's looking for a reason where a particular talk would trend, and then we also have people who are after the clickbait. You know, it's really tough being a manager, particularly one whose team is struggling, or there's a situation out there you cannot manage, or a big player is on the verge of leaving. There's a particular thing you go and say now, it will just escalate the issue and all of that. So Ruben is a gentleman. I've seen him, and I've heard him talk. I've stood close to him, and I see he's a gentleman, but he didn't just know that his career at Manchester United will go the way it is going now. And I really hope he will turn it around, because he's part of those managers that I think can pump up the expectation, the competition in the league. So imagine if we have Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Newcastle. Then try and imagine the kind of competition we're going to have here, me.
All right.
You'll be a gentleman.
But instead, I'm imagining another Jose Mourinho walking out of the press conference situation. And I don't know why I'm imagining all this. I don't know. All right, let's talk about the man Austin lists as another person who will probably be the first person to get the boot. And I agree 100%. Graham Potter, I don't know. But let's check the stats. Graham Potter, 21 matches, 5 wins, 5 draws, 11 losses. And I agree with what I've read, what I've seen. You cannot sugarcoat this. Yeah. Kane Idris, just a brief comment, because we don't really have time. Yeah. If I was the owner, next 3 matches will decide his future. Some have even told me that I've been generous with 3 matches.
Yes. I think the whole Brighton thing really flattered all of us. You know, his time at Brighton, we saw him at Chelsea. I think he's not a good manager. He's one of those managers that will give you flashes and all of that. Then, if he has players who take it personally to go into games and achieve, I think that is where you find. But technical input, you know, tactical, being astute with games and you know, their approach to every team that you play. I think Graham Potter is not a high-level Premier League coach. And this is West Ham. Whether I like it or not, they are one of the historic teams in the EPL. And, you know, I wanted to say something there. You're only a gentleman if you're not achieving. If you're achieving, there is a level of arrogance that takes on you. And I think that's the story with people like Graham Potter and the likes of Ruben Amorim. Maybe Ruben can do well coaching the likes of Sunderland and all of that, but you can't be with Manchester United and say, you know, all of these excuses. So sack Graham Potter, go ahead and sack Ruben Amorim. I've told Manchester United, you're choosing to stick with Ruben because of the whole don't sack, but this is the wrong man to stick with. So you need to really think it deep. All right, you need to really think it. So let's move on. I really wish we had time to analyze and talk about all the angles. But anyway, let's move on. All right, let's quickly give you a slice of basketball and end it all with athletics. And so, as you have on my screen, the final standing, top 5, especially after the AfroBasket, you have Angola, Mali, Senegal, Cameroon, and Nigeria. I usually don't like to criticize rankings, but probably looks fair. If it was the women, I'll be up in arms. But for the guys, I don't know what to say. But also your thoughts on this one. This rankings, top 5 standings after the conclusion of the tournament. There's probably no argument because, of course, when the teams ended, it's probably reflecting on their standings.
Yeah, you know, and we just have to accept it, but it's quite painful because with what Nigeria did at the group phase, yes. I think aside Egypt, no other team had flawless run in the group stage other than Nigeria. So the fact that we beat Cameroon and Cameroon is ranked ahead of Nigeria, it's another, you know, bitter pill to swallow. But hey, shout out to the top 5 teams. I know they did well, particularly Angola. Angola winning their 12th title after 12 years. You know, imagine they've waited that long. Check Senegal, for instance, and everything that they've done with their basketball. I mean, the last time Senegal won was in 1997. So it tells you how competitive it is becoming. See Nigeria, the last time we won was in 2015, and that's the only time we have won the AfroBasket. It's a very ugly start. I was digging into our basketball. I said, what would we have been if we did not have women to just save us? We would have been a laughing stock of Africa because Kehinde Idris, it's just difficult to accept that as powerful as we claim to be in Africa, we have won the AfroBasket just one time, and it was in 2015.
Sad. But we all have to face our reality, and this is our reality. And even at the time where so many countries have not really had players featuring for them at the highest level of basketball, which is the NBA, we struggled. Now it's almost at the same level. You find Senegalese, you find,
everywhere.
Angolans, Ugandans, everybody from Africa have got almost the same level of representation at the NBA. Yes, Nigerians have got a good number, but it's not like, some years too where we have Olumide and so many of them. So it is hard now to even go ahead and say, okay, we'll use our international boys to come and bamboozle them at the AfroBasket. They also have. So we need to look into our house, do the needful, and muster a proper challenge at AfroBasket. If not, we'll be here 2035 and talking about still having one AfroBasket.
All right. So I don't want to talk about the problems on the show tonight. But Kehinde Idris, let's talk about the Diamond League. That's our party shot. We have 2 athletes in the Diamond League. We're hoping that they'll probably get a share of the jackpot at the end of the day. And of course, Toby Express surely gets her attention because she will be in action in Zurich, Switzerland. I saw her in Lausanne.
Yeah.
I thought it was deliberate coming 4th or 5th in that race. It looked like she didn't really put too much because at the end of the day, you're talking about points and all that. But what are you expecting as we prepare to go?
I saw an article on Toby, after that race, and the caption was Toby's back. Like, these are not Nigerians, these are not Africans. They went through the numbers, through the statistics. They went through what she is coming from and where she is now. And they said Toby's back, and the entire world should watch her. But at the end, the man said, hopefully, the slice of luck will push her through at those points where you really need luck to play out for you. We have representation, fine. We'll continue to be support and then report their stories. But ask a simple question. Our Athletics Federation should find a way to link up with our representatives anywhere they are in the world.
All right. Unfortunately, we're pressed for time, but that's going to be a party shot on the show. So also we got to go, but I'm very sure you probably want to say in a few seconds anything about Toby Express. I'm rooting for her and hoping that at the end of the day she gets a chunk of the prize money at the Diamond League.
I think she's done well enough for her to be tagged competitive with the current runners. But right now, that 100 meters hurdles is so packed. All the women, they are running so well. They're on fire. Toby needs to reignite what we saw right there at Oregon when she broke the world record. She needs to get back into that 2022 spirit. She needs to reignite it, and that's the only way she can get into contention again. Nathaniel Ezekiel, what else can I say? He's been in good form, doing so well. I don't want to put pressure on him. He should just go out there and do his thing, and then we'll get to talk about it. That game between Morocco and Senegal at the Chanas ended 5-3. Morocco won it via penalties. That's the show. In London, I'm Austin Okonakpan. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
All right, it's a wrap here in Lagos as well. I want to thank Kehinde Idris for his time on the show.
It's always lovely, being here on Tuesdays.
All right. Of course, we'll take the conversation out of here, as we always do. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.